from the lighter side of pest control. This is Tales from the Crawl Space with your hosts, Jack and Nick and Brad.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Tales from the Crawl Space with your hosts, Jack and Nick. Oh, yeah, and Brad. Let's say we're going to drink a special toast to our fallen brother today, Nick, who couldn't make it to the podcast today. So it's just going to be it is just going to be the two of us. So you're just going to have to suffer through it. So, yeah. Jack, how you doing? How was your week?
Doing good. Week's going good. Getting spooled up for Thanksgiving next week, which is going to be awesome. I don't know if we're going to go on hiatus next week because of holidays, or if we're going to record earlier, or what, because I'm going to be out of state. But we'll figure it out.
Time will tell.
Other than that, I'm doing good. Just enjoying my week, enjoying my retirement, and just dicking around, farting around. The most exciting thing today was I changed the filter in my zero water pitcher.
Man, you know how to party.
I do. That's some heavy shit there,
cowboy.
Well, it was fucking up my Keurig, and man, I was like, I can't have that because I got a lot of lime in the water down here, so I need a zero water thing to run up to my Keurig, or I'll get 5 cups of coffee, and the damn thing will clog up on me.
You got one of those that you hook up to a faucet, or do you have a Brita pitcher?
No, it's actually the zero water pitcher, the zero water filters that give you zero total dissolved solids.
Oh.
Each one comes with its own little water tester, and like you can test your tap water, and that's got like 500 some zero total dissolved solids, and when it comes out the filter, zero.
Nice. I've seen some videos about back to the Brita filter. I've seen some videos where people were putting nasty ass low dollar vodka into these things, and it comes out tasting like Grey Goose or some shit. And so I've always wanted to try that, but alas, I don't own a Brita pitcher, and I don't think my wife would kick me square in my tiny balls if I bought one just to filter booze through. So anybody out there that would like to try that, maybe run some vodka through it, run some Exciter through it, and see, just let us know how it shakes out.
Well, you get that Walmart brand, and it's if you're doing cheap vodka through a Walmart filter, I mean, you get what you get. You'll get so drunk you put on your pajamas and your Crocs and go scooting through Walmart at 3:00 in the morning in a thong.
Yeah, I think the only thing we can guarantee is you won't go blind.
Unlike some of the stuff we can get in the country around where I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of that shit's rough.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories about something that I'd really like to at least take a little sip of. It's popular in Chicago called Malort. It is supposed to be some of the most hideous booze out there. And I think Chicago just keeps it around just to fuck with people, out of towners and whatnot. Yeah, try this. So, but
is that like Scissorp? Is that like that Scissorp stuff?
Scissorp? I don't know. A member of the Mod Squad, Kevin Wilhite, is a native Chicagoan. I'm gonna have to hit him up for some information on Malort, and hopefully he and I can get together for dinner one time, and he could buy me a glass of it.
Prepare. I mean, have 911 on speed dial or something. Because
just type in 9-1 and then just hit the one after that.
Wait for the last one.
We put it out earlier in the week for topic, and the topic that we came up with was customer homes. The good, the bad, the disgusting, the beautiful, the hideously ugly. And you guys really came through with your stories, and we really appreciate it. And so tonight, Jack and I are going to kick back with a libation, and we're gonna rattle these off to you folks, so everybody can hear your story. Once again, thank you very much for your contributions. Keep them coming, and we're looking really forward. It's you guys that make not only Tales from the Crawl Space a huge hit and a blast to do, but also Pest Control Humor Depot. You guys are making it what it is. And,
for sure.
I've said a totally fucking trash fire, and you guys are pretty good at your jobs when it comes to that. So Jack.
I do have my sweat sock and nutsack story of my own experience too. So
okay.
The one with there was this house that I had. It was this maze of a house. It's like it started out this little shack, and they'd build like a tumor off to the side of it, and the hallways were all janky. And then there's a spiral staircase going to the center of it to one little tiny room. I don't know if it was like the punishment room or the BDSM room. It smelled like it. I couldn't tell because all the toys were gone. But there's also this big, huge, sprawling living room with a pit in the center of it that had a carpeted seat all the way around the pit. And in the center of the pit was a hot tub. And it was carpeted all the way to the water line. And the moisture in that room, I mean, first of all, you could see the watermarks all over the knotty pine paneled walls. And so water's all over the damn place. And it just stunk. And it smelled like nutsack and sweat. So it was like a locker room in a prison, I would guess, because I've never been to prison, but it was disgusting. And you get lost in the house. I went in one way to get into that room and went to this little tiny extra kitchen that was there for no reason whatsoever that had mouse shit on everything. And the place was just, I don't know why they built it this way. It's kind of like that mystery house out in California or that weird one down in Florida, the Edgar Casey house, whatever it is. Was that Virginia Beach? Is it Edgar Casey's house? I think. But I think so. It's a weird maze. And the whole time, it's like someone's attacking you with a jockstrap. And it was just disgusting. I mean, I had another house that this guy had a painting of his wife in full nudity display, a huge oil painting right above the bed. And this was one of those old guys that expected a baseboard jockey. So I was going from room to room and hating every second of it because it was ridiculous. And I got to that room, and I was kind of looking down at the baseboards the whole time. I wasn't really paying attention to what was up on the ceilings because I'll go through and do another inspection, but I wanted to make sure I sprayed first and then talk to the guy, find out what else is going on. But I know that's kind of ass backwards, but I want to get the fuck out of this guy's house because he gave off this creepy, I want to touch your butthole vibe. So, and he's like, hey, what do you think about that? I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I haven't seen any bugs yet. Things, he goes, no. Look up there and tell me what you see. I'm like, who's that? He goes, oh, that's my wife. I'm like, okay. Yeah, man. I loved watching her pose for that painting. That was something, man. Every time she'd take a break from laying on that little chaise lounge, man, we'd go at it like monkeys. And then she'd lay back down, and I'm sure they had to be a little generous about how they painted her down in the crotch area because I wore that shit out. That's what he told me. And I'm just sitting there going, can you shoot me? Can just shoot me, please? Yeah.
Did they not have enough? They didn't have the right color paint to come up with Arby's beef and cheddar to catch that area.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a lot less orange than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. There were some browns in suspicious areas, and some purples. So I'm guessing they kind of got the post piping look of it on there, but it was, yeah. I mean, and she needed a trim, and I'm not talking about her pubic hair. She needed a trim down. Sometimes how you want to tidy up a sandwich for a commercial, you kind of cut the extra flaps of roast beef that stick outside of the bun too far.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't want the roast beef to actually touching the table. No. And that's kind of where this was. So, and he was all proud of it and everything, and he wanted to sit there and hold a conversation in that room. I just continued, yep, I got you. And I kept going through the house. I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, all the while trying to keep from vomiting on his floor.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. I'm glad it's his wife, and I'm so glad that he's so in love with her and thinks she's so beautiful. Fantastic. That's a happy marriage for both of them. But if you were to get this woman naked and send her after, like running towards me, I'd run the other way.
Sometimes sharing is not caring.
That woman can scare the flies off a turd truck. Is what she can do.
Oh yeah, nice. Well, I'm glad you survived the experience there, Jack. Speaking of sex rooms, dungeons, and whatnot, Alexandra Victoria Strickland dropped one in the depot. Talking about I once treated a guy's home, and it was a really cool bachelor pad. movie memorabilia everywhere, a fully stocked bar, a projector in the backyard, etc. Then I get to a playroom where, if you catch my drift, it was red lit, erotic art on the wall, a swinging bed, and a wall of leashes and whips. I'm sorry, I need to stop and catch my breath for a second. Alexandria asks him, even this room for treatment? Yep, he says. I bet you entertain pretty frequently, huh? Yep. One of my best customers ever, though. That customer is a man of few words, but he didn't need it because he let his walls of leashes and whips do the talking. So thanks a lot for that one, Alexandra.
That was a good one, and I think I responded to her by telling on the first season of this show, I think on one of the 2 crazy customer episodes, I actually talked about going down to a basement like that, and I could have sworn he said go to the right, but I went to the left, and so I ended up in a room I didn't want to be in that had, and this guy has an alternative lifestyle, and I'm not just talking about the BDSM part. He liked to put tab A and slot B of people of the same gender, which is cool. Have your fun. Enjoy yourself. Love yourself. Just be happy. That's all that matters.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, right. That's the whole Don and Mike thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it's not something I was planning on seeing for the day. So, So I completely see where you're coming from, young lady. And thank you for submitting that. That was awesome.
Absolutely. Let's go on to let's see what else we got here. Nick May. We're gonna go. We're talking about bodily fluids and whatnot. Let's just stay in the same avenue there.
Yummy.
Yeah, Nick's talking about a house that he serviced that had to be a health hazard being in there. It reeks of urine, feces, and the worst body odor you can imagine. It legitimately burns to breathe in there. The kitchen is stained with grease and filth and crust lining the baseboards. And even the grate for the intake for the AC systems is caked with dog crap. The carpet crunches when you walk on it, and each step releases more odor. Not to mention the hoe leaves bad reviews because she doesn't think I do a good job. I spray pesticide, not fucking Mr. Clean magic.
Awesome.
It sounded exactly like he and I had done the same damn place. I was walking up and, she was taking me upstairs because they had roaches in one of the kids' bedroom, which was, a major shock to everybody. I see a big pile of puke on there, and it looks like the puke has been there for a minute because, it's got that pudding skin forming over it and everything. But still had some pretty recognizable chunks of what was once food. And she's like, oh, don't step in that. She did that Wednesday. Okay, guys, this was Friday. So I guess her daughter had blue chunks in the hallway, left it there, and it was there for at least 2 days. And then wondering why they got roaches so bad. And Margaret, you're probably not here anymore, but I will never fucking forget your house.
Well, a little funny, interesting note about that is that the smell of vomit and the smell of Parmesan cheese are really close to being the same because they share the same protein. So,
science fact there.
Enjoy that spaghetti, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still gonna fucking eat Parmesan. I don't care. I put Parmesan on it. I put it on Tylenol. Shit.
They don't call it stinky cheese for nothing.
That's right. So anyway, I want to throw one of mine on there. We've talked about some disgusting things, but I want to tell you about an awesome house that I had. Back again, this was at the Big Green Tea. I get a work order for a house out in a little town called Liston, Indiana. And I had a trainee with me, and he was pretty much done with his training. We were just waiting for his credentials to come in so he could go free ball on his own. We get there. Granted, we've never been there before. And anybody that's, worked a day in the life knows that you can't look at a dollar amount on a ticket and know what size the house is. This one was no exception. We pull up. Okay, well, here's the address. Well, where's the house? Well, there's a gravel road right here. So we go hit the gravel road. This was before GPS and all that other horse shit. About a mile and a half later, we see the house. it is colossal. And, it's a big ass house. It's a beautiful house. And we're just kind of like slack jawed looking at it. And it's like, holy shit. How are we going to get this done in the time we need to? I said, okay. I said, Nick, I said, you've got this. You're going to, we'll just split up, we'll fan out and we'll meet in the middle. So we get in this house. The guy's there. The guy is actually he was the owner and founder of a pretty well-known company in the lumber industry. Nice guy, nice as can be. He goes, all right, I got to go. The house is yours. Just get her done. And we've seen some ants in the pool area. They had an indoor pool. Surprise, surprise. So we're just working on this place. And it's like the more I go, the deeper I get into the house, the more lost I get. And I get to a door. I open it up to a full-size basketball court. And I'm like, wow, I'm just tripping out. And so I get in there and I'm running my flashlight, checking the windows, poofing some dust and, around the cracks and crevices around the windows. And then all of a sudden I hear a door open and it's the other guy. He's like, damn. I said, I know, right? We look over in the corner and we see a basketball. I said, you want to hit a couple? He goes, you think that's okay? I said, he ain't here. He goes, let's dance. So, okay. We played a couple of points and guy kicked my ass. I'll admit. And so it's like, all right, we got to get out of here. Let's wrap this up. So we go later on, the next month when we give him a call to the service, the guy goes, that guy kicked your ass out on that court, didn't he? I started laughing. I said, you saw that? He goes, yeah, I got cameras everywhere. I said, yeah. I said, I got to admit, the guy did run me up and down that damn court. Granted, I'm a fat fuck and I'm out of shape, but this guy did a number on me. Let's fast forward 20 years. I get a wedding invitation. My beautiful niece Grace is getting married finally to a dude that she's only been, living with for 4 or 5 years. So, we're calling it It's About Fucking Time wedding. And I look at the place where the reception and the ceremony is going to be held. And it's a place called the Liston Lodge. And I looked at it and I said, Liston. I said, that sounds familiar. So I got on a website. Damn if that house has been converted into a wedding venue. And the basketball court is the ballroom now. The pool has been, covered over and, there's like an auditorium there. The kitchen is basically similar, except they tore out a bunch of the counters and made a really beautiful bar. And I told them, holy shit. I said, that's the so-and-so's house. And she goes, what? I said, remember when I told you about getting my ass kicked on a basketball court inside somebody's house? She goes, oh, really? I said, yeah. So going back there, it made me feel all nostalgic and everything. But it was a pretty cool experience. Did the house a couple of times. And it's just a really neat place. So that's one of the places I won't ever forget.
I have to ask, for old time's sake, did you do a slam dunk in the punch bowl?
I came damn near it. It was. I mean, my niece was. Let's just say I don't want to say she's a control freak or anything like that, but she is a freelance, amateur planner of events, and she stuck this damn wedding. It was the best damn wedding I ever went to. I had a blast. The food was just okay, but the bartender she hired had really heavy hands, and so everybody had a great time.
Awesome. That's and it's accounts like that, man. That's kind of makes it worth doing. These really cool houses. Mm-hmm. I made a reference last season to this one house. I had to do a termite job in the crawl space, and it was a drilling job, but it was perfectly concreted. The whole crawl space floor was, and you had a mechanics creeper down there. So I'm just zipping from one side to the other. I'd get to one side of this big, huge crawl space and push off and zip across, just fucking around because the job was so damn easy. I had a lot of extra time and I didn't feel like starting another job that day. So I kind of drug my feet a little bit.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Granted, a lot of the stories that we've got are horror stories, but and that's basically what we do. Pest Control Humor Depot has gotten its claim to fame as a place to bitch and moan about stuff like this, and just kind of unload on the the ugly part of it. But there's a lot of good stuff that goes on out there, and so hopefully by the time you and I are done talking here, we've shared some of that with the rest of the listeners.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I've had like this huge mansion of a house with all this really cool. Guy had a garage with like 10 different really iconic cars in it, and it just the sight, being able to walk around and like check these, like he had a DeLorean. He had the car that was Aston Martin from Live or Let Die, the one that went underwater. He had that model of car. Obviously, it wasn't the James Bond one, but it was a cool car to see up close. Really awesome. Had his maid fix me lunch and everything. It was just a beautiful house, really well kept. Never had a pest problem. He always kept, all the door sweeps were new and solid and everything. And it was just a maintenance job. And basically I just, went around and did a feel good service for him. And that's exactly what he wanted. So, but awesome, like an original Picasso painting above the fireplace. Oh, wow. And I'm kind of an art nerd myself. So I was really gawking at that. Just to see the actual brush strokes on the canvas and everything. And I just thought that was like, wow, that's Pablo Picasso actually fucking did that. That was really cool. That's
incredible.
So it's stuff like that, and I mean, there's a lot of them, but I think they kind of get pushed to the back of your memory when you get into a house like I went to that had so many newspapers in the basement stacked up from like the Wall Street Journal from the 70s. The place just held on to moisture and musty, and it was so much I had to turn my big ass sideways. Just to walk through these aisles of stuff. So, and that's the kind of thing that goes to the forefront of your brain, is the disgusting crap you had to hold your vomit in for, as opposed to seeing a gorgeous white Aston Martin and a Pablo Picasso.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's hard to lose. It's really easy to lose sight of those when you are dealing with some pretty grotesque stuff and whatnot. So let's okay. I think the love fest is over. Let's get back to some of these shitholes, shall we?
Let's get back to the nasty. Yeah.
All right. Adam Clark has a rural account that he did. He goes, this town was about 80 miles away in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to move the mic for a second, so if you hear some rumbling. All right, start over again. This town was about 80 miles away in the middle of nowhere. The mom and dad were firefighters for the city. First stop of the day, I left my house around 6:30 and got there about 7:45. Been there, done that. Knowing there was nobody home, I started to treat the exterior. The house I had been to a couple of times has energized lines around the foundation about a foot off the ground to prevent the dogs from digging under the foundation. So I'm sidestep power spraying, trying not to get shocked. Next thing I know, my left leg sinks down to my knee, and I'm now sitting on the ground like, what the fuck? It dawns on me in that moment, I stepped into this hole. Then seconds later, I'm like, what the fuck? So I throw the sprayer down and with both hands grab my leg to pull it out. I've just stepped into an open sewer. Black sludge to my knee and my $200 pair of boots. Dude, gagging. I walk back to around the front of the house and just rang the doorbell. This little kid answers and I ask if the parents were home, knowing they weren't, and she is sign languaging me. What the fuck? So I go to my truck, strip down to my underwear in the driveway, and threw everything in the back of the truck. I had an extra uniform, socks, and underwear, but all I could do was double sock that left foot and rinse out the boot and reuse it for the day and had to rebuy another pair of boots. But this man is my hero. I finished my day.
Damn right. Yeah. I don't think Red Wing covers that under their warranty.
Oh, my God, no. Yeah, because he said $200 boots. That's immediately, my mind went right to Red Wing.
Yeah, well, they are the boot. And then as from the first season, Red Wing, if you want to sponsor us, I'll be more than happy to share the love about your boots on every damn show.
Amen. Yeah, anything that's the only I'm still wearing boots that I got when I worked at Economic Labrador.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I need some new ones. I've got the King Toe, and they've got grooves like a bloody John Deere tractor treads on them, and they're flat now. So
you've walked
and
them things out.
it's time for some new boots. So everybody, be sure to visit your local Red Wing store.
That's right. Get on down to your local Red Wing store today.
Yeah. All right, back to you, Jack.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I got an email, which I think he also shared on the depot. Zach Stafford. He sent an email to Tales from the Crawl Space 2.0 at Gmail. He goes, I was supposed to be working on the coast when I get a call from a landlord that I know has a Section 8 housing apartment complex that one of their tenants have passed away. The cops said they came and got the body out of the house or the apartment, but the hazmat team would refuse to go into the apartment to clean it up because there were bed bugs everywhere. So the manager called me and said, I have to make a report that you were in there and did some kind of treatment. I don't care what you do. You have to do some kind of report to make it. I get there and the scene was out of a horror movie. The body wasn't there, but the blood stains on the bed were. The smell of the place and the bugs. The bed bugs were crawling, searching for a host. So I ran and unplugged and I plugged in the fogger, let it run for about 45 seconds, and got the fuck out of there and locked the door. He ended up going to the coast the next day at the most palatial estate that he's ever seen in his life. It was the nicest house in town. Because he has some that he has pictures that are free to share. He doesn't know who the owner is, but wow. So it's kind of a karma thing. You get something disgustingly nasty like that, then the next day is like gorgeous. So, things kind of even themselves out. But boy, I've seen some nasty ass bedbug jobs, and just think blood all over the place. Bedbugs are probably going nuts. I'm guaranteeing they turned off the air handling system. So it's just probably a ugh. Now,
days like that, you think to yourself, I am making lousy money.
Yeah, I'm not, you're not paying me near enough for this kind of shit.
Yeah, that's no kidding. I've been in some pretty gnarly places, and I would have to say, my first shooting gallery apartments was kind of traumatic. You go in, and this was two buildings. And you would go in and there's just syringes and needles everywhere, and people that were just, slumped over in their chairs, sores everywhere. The stench was horrific. This was before Narcan and all that other good stuff. But, it touches you. It really does. And, especially, we see a lot of stuff. One of my favorite branch managers that I worked with in my career, James Cox. He's no longer with us, so God rest his soul. He every interview he'd go, "There are things you're going to run into in this job. You are going to run into drugs. You're going to run into guns, naked women. Not all of them will be attractive, and
that's the truth.
You're going to run into some very unsavory people. If this is something that you don't think you can handle, then this is probably not the job for you. But if you can handle it, you will be treated well, you'll be paid well, and you'll make a good living." To be that upfront in an interview, it says something about the guy that gave the interview. So,
it's a very apt description, because that's exactly true. You're going to run into all of that. I mean, I was doing Section 8 housing in Brooklyn Park, just south of Baltimore, just across the harbor from Baltimore, so you can guess the neighborhood. But as I was walking up the walkway from the gate, there was blood from the sidewalk up the walkway in increasing amounts when it got to the front step. So I was doing termite inspections. I was like, no. I turned around, I left. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I have no idea what's in there, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the job is definitely not for everybody, and there's some days where it's not for anybody. Mm-hmm. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we're actually doing something. We're protecting the health of people, and we're providing for our families. So, all right, that's enough ass kissing the industry. Let's move on.
That's why we were essential workers during COVID, because it's still public health and safety. So you're exactly right.
And all this time, I thought it was because the higher ups didn't want to lose the revenue.
Well, that too, but
Well, yeah, that's it. But
God forbid.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were out there pumping it. I'll never forget that time when COVID rolled around. We were basically we were out there doing it. We were out there with the first responders. We were out there with the electrical linemen, with everybody else that was doing it. And you'd get nurses, the medical professionals. God bless them.
Oh God, yeah.
But I don't remember seeing a single fucking video on TikTok of us dancing around with our B&Gs and outside of our trucks and everything, trying to garner attention. We weren't. We were out there doing it.
No, yeah, I tell you, the best thing about working during COVID was getting to work was a breeze. I mean, the speed limit was like 95 miles an hour.
It was like Mad Max out there, man. It was great.
I love that.
I even had the goggles too, with the little spikes around the edges of them.
Oh hell yeah! But
that's right.
I had the mohawk and no shirt. I mean, I'm riding down the road with my nipples hanging out and everything. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Almost every job was exterior only because no one wanted you in their damn house.
Mm-hmm.
So the routes were easy. We were still working, and rats were eating each other in New York.
How about that?
Because there were no dumpsters full of food. Restaurants were shut down.
Right, exactly. And the very few restaurants that were open, they had to jump on things because all these restaurants were closed and they weren't bringing any money in. They weren't getting their pest control done. But what did they do? Did they okay, we're going to shut down for COVID, but first let's do a deep clean on the place, make sure everything's nice and spotless and clean and what? Oh fuck, no, they didn't do that. No, first thing they did when they opened they turned on the lights when they came back in is look at all the cockroaches and mouse turds and everything, and then call us wanting a recall. It's like, I'm sorry, that is not going to happen. No, this is going to be either an initial charge or a clean out charge. And so, yeah, it was something else. There was some places that was just like, I don't know why we got them. We clean. No, you didn't fucking clean. It's like, don't blow smoke up my ass like that, lady.
Exactly, just like that. I mean, I was when I was in Pennsylvania working during COVID, because I was a pest control supervisor for the second largest school system in the country. They had me doing the schools that company took care of, and the maintenance. I mean, when they started allowing people back in the schools, the maintenance was there sanitizing every damn thing. And I got to tell you, those people worked their butts off for what very little pay they made, but I would go into every single kitchen and there were drain flies all over the place because no one was working in the kitchens. No one was mopping the floors, and all the P-traps were drying out. Yeah. And all these drain flies were coming up. So I'm like, look, when y'all sanitize, you need to dump your mop buckets down every single one of these drains or run water in them like once a week. Do something because you're going to keep having this problem. These things are going to spread all over the damn place if you don't stay on top of these drains. So I finally got them to do that, and I didn't have to keep running back every week to try to, tell them that they have to keep the P-traps full. But lazy bastards.
Yeah, I just by the way, I want to do a quick sidebar. While we're recording the podcast, I like to keep my eye on Facebook and the depot and whatnot. So I'm on here checking my notices, and all of a sudden I get a pop up that says you're temporarily blocked, and it says it looks like you were misusing this feature by going too fast. You've been temporarily blocked from using it. Okay, what? Anybody that knows what the fuck that means, would you maybe give me a DM or whatnot, and so I can figure out exactly what the hell's going on with this?
Temporarily blocked. That's weird.
Temporarily blocked. Ain't that about a bitch? I've been sitting here talking to you. Yeah, that's like.
Yeah, I mean, if you say the sky is blue, and one of the fact checkers at Facebook thinks that you've misappropriated the gender of the color, then they're going to have a problem and block you.
Yeah. You
didn't use the right pronoun, Brad. You didn't.
Apparently not. I've been trying to be politically correct, but it's so hard, Jack.
It's a cis-colored color, and you have to appropriate that properly. So. Yeah, that's how that works. Some fucking woke little pussies and bullshit.
I know. Holy shit. Who knows? But anyway, so I'm temporarily blocked. So it looks like Dan Bird's running things for a little while.
All right, Dan, get on with it, man. Earn your
That's
money.
right. Yeah, unless he gets zucked too, then I guess it's just total anarchy at Pest Control Humor Depot. You guys enjoy yourselves.
Y'all getting zucked over.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of sex, which we always do, Brian Michael Turner. My best job ever was treating a photographic studio for cockroaches. They were in the process of taking topless photos of the hottest female models you can find. You can imagine this job took me the longest to complete in my entire career. Nice going. And hey, he seasons that comment with, my worst job ever was treating a mortuary. The facility did not have electricity. Okay, what the fuck? What is this, like, an Amish mortuary or whatnot? The corpses,
just put them in the barn.
He goes on to say the corpses stank and there was a severe cockroach infestation. This job took me the quickest to complete in my entire career.
Well, as the first one, someone would have to ask me, "Hey, is that an Extendaband valve in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?"
I'm just saying. No, that is the hose to a mighty light B&G fogger.
I got my mag light in my front of my pants.
There you go. It's the 4D cell.
The tip's all shiny and everything.
Oh man, all this talk is making me miss Nick, Jack.
I know. His little donut is just tweaking, thinking about you, and poor Nick.
I'm sure it could use the rest.
We've all heard about your virility, virile, vigorous, and potent. So poor Nick. I mean, he needs to walk decent at least 1 week at work.
Yeah, we'll cut him some slack. Okay. I got an often contributor to the Pest Control Humor Depot, a guy that's pretty near and dear to me because he, like me, appears to be a boomer. Is Lawrence Plesha. I hope I pronounced your name right. If I'm not, get the fuck over it. First, I must tell you that the termite work is my least favorite part of pest control. I'm a restaurant guy. The large company I'm working for puts me on that track in management training. I'm sent out on a suburban call and ring the doorbell. A full-dressed drag queen answers the door in a blue prom dress. It's for drywood termites. So after examining the exterior and interior, I go into the crawl space where pellets are falling out of the floor joists throughout the house. I explain that the house must be tinted, and the person says the bedroom is where they notice the problem and asks me to examine the drawers under the large bed. Out of a drawer, they pull a paperback book and hand it to me. As I leaf through it, there are beautiful, clean galleries chewed everywhere. Then I'm petulantly asked, "Oh man, me too. Anything that's not a building member or whatnot that's ate up with termites, I get off on that. I mean,
hell yeah."
Books, furniture, carpeting, drywalls, I think, but one of the coolest ones I ever come across is PVC pipe. It was underground, leading to the filtration system for a swimming pool. Uh-huh. And those little bastards chewed through that, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I kept on to that. I held on to that piece for years. I changed offices, and I kind of lost track of it, which was a drag. But so then I'm petulantly asked. He goes on, "What do you think of that?" I thought for a moment of what to say. The best I could do is, obviously these are termites. Obviously these termites appreciate John Jake's historical novels far more than I do. The customer agreed with that and signed up. So thanks for bringing that to us, Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence, that was awesome. I got to tell you, termite work was my absolute favorite. I started doing termite work. It was the very first thing I did in pest control way back. And I love it. And I love getting out doing termite work. It was the greatest thing. So yeah, and I love finding stuff like that. Like I had a carton nest that was between the ground of the crawl space. It was like a 2.5 foot crawl, and it just kind of hung there in the center, attached to the ground, and then the floor joist. And it was the coolest thing. And I gently separated it from the ground and the joist, and gingerly put it on the passenger seat of the truck so it wouldn't get bounced around in the back of the truck. And I kept that thing. We kind of dissected it. It was awesome.
We had a guy bring a queen termite in. And he was just like, he didn't tell me what was in the thing. I guess he wanted it to be a surprise. He goes, now I want you to take this, and I want you to, it was a wad of Kleenex. I thought he might have rubbed one out and was handing it to me. He was so proud of his wad. But I was like, he goes, now I want you to take this, and I want you to open it gingerly and see what's in there. I said, what's in there? He goes, just fucking open it. And I'm like, I'm opening it up. He goes, no, slower than that. I was like, dude, I ain't got time for this, Junior. And I opened it up, and sure as shit, man, I ripped that fucking queen to shreds. I felt so bad for that guy. I was like, I'm sorry to bust your bubble there, man. But I was as gingerly as I could be. But I think, and I saw a carton nest one time, and I thought it was really awesome. What was really awesome was the amount, and these are Eastern subs too, and Eastern subs don't carton all that often. And I was finding multiple reproductives in this thing because I took it back to the branch and I dissected it. I'm out there, I'm in there with a pick and little tiny dental pick and some real sharp Bar Parker type of razor knife and stuff. Just trying to be as surgical as possible because I wanted to see every fucking bit of this. It was the coolest damn thing I ever saw. After it dried out, it was damn near impossible to get in.
Yeah. Oh no, those things are solid. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. But the stuff you find of those, man, those are cool. Mm-hmm. It's like all the alates were just kind of waiting for like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Just yeah, all stuck in there, just waiting to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I want to get Josh Waller in on this show. Josh is a very frequent contributor to Pest Control Humor Depot. He is, he's hilarious and he's got something to say about everything, and we love him. But he was talking about he's got a couple of disgusting pet stories. I'd like to go ahead and rattle off both of them. The first one, he goes, I don't think I have a picture of the glue boards anymore. But we have this customer who had a miniature horse living inside her house. And yes, it's exactly what you can imagine it's like inside. Anyway, the glue boards. She had been complaining of mice getting indoors. A quick 30-second walk around the exterior revealed she had no screens on her garage vents. They are low to the ground and about 12 by 4. We don't offer exclusion services, so the best I could do for the time was set a glue board across the entrance and inform her the vents needed to be screened. I continue with the rest of the service, and when I walk back around that side of the property, I hear squeaking from the garage. I check out the noise, and sure enough, within 5 minutes of setting those traps, there was already a mouse on it. I get a bright. Hang on one second. I'm sorry, guys. My fucking phone rang. I get the bright idea. I'm back. Okay, I get the bright idea that I should just keep setting these up and see how many I can nab in one go. Fast forward to the conclusion of her service. About 35 minutes later, I have 4 glue boards containing 5 mice in the bed of my truck. Not because I stopped walking into the same damn trap over and over, but because I had to leave. I have never serviced that account again, and I pray I never have to.
Man,
I'll tell you, exclusion. He said he doesn't offer exclusion services. Exclusion's the way to go, and it doesn't even have to be like hardcore exclusion where you're actually replacing vents and doors and what. I mean, something as simple as some stuff it or what excluder the fiber stuff shoved in a little hole. Will go wonders. You get as much stuff sealed up as everything else is a matter of just harvesting what's in there. There's a lot of places that don't offer exclusion, and I get that. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but it's typical for all of us in the depot group. When we hear something like that, well, you should do this. So I wanted to. I just once in the whole time we've been on there, I just wanted to do that. So.
Well, you got to figure there's a lot of money in it, and it saves you a lot of trouble down the road too. So
yeah. The money, and exclusion is good money if you can get the customer to bite down on it. I mean, a lot of people you give them what the job is worth, and maybe even cut a few bucks off of it because they've already got they've already signed up for the service, and they're still shitting kittens over it.
Oh yeah, well,
So,
it's like the insurance company. It gives you the bundle discount. You just bundle
mhm,
it in.
absolutely. Yeah, the bundlers. Bundlers are the guys that actually get commission. And they're the ones that get cussed out the most by the techs, too. All
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
right.
fucking promise that shit, man. And I tell you, Donnie and Marie Pest Control are famous for that shit.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if this next story that Josh had, if this happened on the same day, this just wasn't this guy's day. So, all right. So this one is also a disgusting pet story. I'm in a relatively nice gated community running a route. I get to a stop and this old dude with a huge macaw parrot on his shoulder. He complains he has ants inside. Nothing we do ever works, yada, yada. We've all heard it before. I am typically the guy who will throw the kitchen sink at a problem, so I figure out a game plan in my head, knowing I'm going to have to treat around this parrot. I figured gel bait and dust inside and a non-repellent outside will do the trick and won't harm the bird. I gather my stuff and I get ready to venture outside. It's one of those vertically built homes on a hillside, so I couldn't really see the conditions inside when talking to him earlier because it was a small entryway. God help me, I was unprepared for what was inside. So this dude kept that parrot free roaming inside his house for some reason, and it became immediately apparent it wasn't potty trained. I reached this conclusion because you couldn't see any of this dude's floor. The entire house was covered in old newspaper that he laid out so the bird had somewhere to go. Only problem that was he, from what I could tell, wasn't cleaning any of it up after the bird shit somewhere. He was just throwing more layers of newspaper on top of more shit covered newspaper underneath. So these guys had bird shit lasagna in his house. You can only begin to imagine what the smell was like in there. Excuse me, I need a moment.
It's probably like walking on Velcro, you know.
Josh goes on. He's like, I really don't have a great sense of smell, and even I almost couldn't take it. Nothing I could do was going to have any impact on these ants. They were hopelessly entrenched in this guy's, quote, custom floor he had decided was somehow okay. This, like the previous horse lady, is one of those few instances where I couldn't even bring myself to mention the sanitation issues. They were so blatantly obvious, there was no way to say anything without coming across like a dick. I did the best I could, but there's no way I had any significant impact on those ants. Josh, yeah, this has not been your day.
I tell you, that's what makes a pest control tech so unique is we know a way to tell people that they are the absolutely most heinous and disgusting people on the planet, but say it in such a way that they smile when you tell them.
And there's also those customers out there where you don't even want to waste the fucking carbon dioxide that you don't need to keep on it. And,
that's for
so
sure.
It's like, what the fuck's the point? It's like the more I talk to him, the more I'm standing in his nasty ass shit lasagna house and having to deal with that. So,
the house with the horse in it. I could just see myself sitting on the couch eating a bowl of cereal, and the horse lifts his tail up and just logs out on the fucking floor while I'm eating. And because you remember the laughing cow cheese commercial or the Baby Bell commercial?
Oh yeah, with the red cow with the earring and
and the lady's sitting on the couch next to this animated cow, and the cow's telling her about how good the cheese is. And I can only imagine. I've dealt with cows. You can sit there and be petting them or milking them or whatever, and they'll just start shitting.
Oh yeah.
So, I was hoping in that commercial that while that cow decided to get up from the couch and stand there and talk to the lady while she was explaining how lovely the cheese was, that she'd just start taking a dump. And I was kind of hoping that would happen on the commercial, and I was sadly disappointed. But I'll keep my fingers crossed for the next one. Get on it, Baby Bell. I want to see.
That's right. Well, that seems kind of what I expect every time I see one of them Jamie Lee Curtis Activia yogurt commercials. It's like I expect her to just spray shit like a damn hippo all over the place.
Well, there's a whole niche of people who would pay good money to watch Jamie Lee Curtis take a shit.
And I'm not afraid to say I count myself among them.
In her younger days with longer hair, because when she cut her hair short, she looked like a 13-year-old boy, and that completely precludes me from wanting to see something.
Now she looks like David Bowie in his Thin White Duke phase.
It's far better than Stephen Perry not Steve Perry from the guy from Aerosmith looking like an old Jewish lady.
Oh, Steven Tyler?
Yeah, looks like an old Jewish lady.
Oh yeah, yeah. He looks like that crazy aunt that leaves mushrooms in your bedroom when she visits.
Oh, honey, I left you a present in your living room.
Yeah, darling.
It's
Don't eat them all at once. You'll see
No.
God.
It's there in the candy dish. You might like it when you watch your Lawrence Welk reruns. It makes them a lot more entertaining.
Oh shit.
Irving, did you take too many? He took too many.
Oh God!
Oh my God, we have to stay another
Oh, that's good shit, man. I tell you, the Pest Control Humor Depot really came through today on the stories, man. That was awesome. We got a lot of good stuff.
They sure did, man. They do every day, but when you focus their attention on a certain topic, they go bonkers, man. This has been great.
Never underestimate a room with 1 million chimpanzees will eventually type out a Shakespearean play.
That's right. Yeah, they got some definitely had some classics today.
Something came to mind while you were talking about termites is that last season you and I recorded a full termite show that never made it to air because I fucked up the recording.
That was inebriated termite episode. I remember that well. I kind of remember that well.
We have to do that. We have to get a little inebriated before the show and then start recording and do a full inebriated termite show. Now I want to hear a show of hands, as it were, from people on the depot. Would you like to hear an inebriated termite show? Because the one that we recorded was fucking awesome, but for some reason, one half of the recording, which was Brad's, never made it to the actual file.
Yeah. So Jack denies that Jack claims that was not by design. But when I get inebriated, things go get a little pear shaped. So it may have been. Let's just say I'm drinking a lot better quality of liquor now.
Well, I blame Bud Light for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I will, but I would love to take another stab at that inebriated termite show.
Mm-hmm. Another topic I wanted to maybe look into and get some contributions from people, not just from the depot, but you listeners out there that maybe not be a cheesehead and would like to add to this is customer notes on doors.
Oh yeah.
I will get on the site and I will see some of the damnedest notes and they crack my ass up. And one of the biggest contributors is Josh Talbert, member of the Mod Squad. Maybe I could talk him into coming in and getting on a podcast as a special guest, and we can rattle off some of these. But yeah, if you've got them, folks, bring them. I'd love to see him. Jack would love to see him, and we'd love to talk about him. Make you get your name out here and join the fun.
Well, send us the pictures. You can send it to Tales of the Crawl Space 2.0 at Gmail. You can send them on our Instagram or our Twitter, and I will post them. If you send it to me on one, I'll post them on all of it and give you the credit for supplying the picture, most definitely. Because I'd love to have a gallery of those pictures of those notes. That'd be great. Some of them with the horrible spelling or the weirdest fucking messages and shit. Yeah, that'd be great. I love to see that. So yeah, send us the pictures by hook or by crook on the depot, Instagram, Twitter, email. Hell, you can text them to our phone number and we'll get them and we'll post them up and give you the credit for it. Just if you send a text, say who you are along with the picture so I can give you proper credit.
Absolutely, yeah. Own up to your shit, man. Mm-hmm. And like I always say, if you don't own it, you can at least rent it out anyway.
Well, I think our next show, you and I were talking before the show, is going to be about. We got a good idea, and I can't find the fucking post to give the guy credit. So I will give him credit when we record the show for coming up with the idea when I find it. But it's going to be about being sent out to do a job that you knew was wrong or that you shouldn't be doing, and how you handled it. Now, I know Brad and I have a wealth of that shit, and a lot of mine kind of centers around termite work.
Yeah, we need to come up with a shorter title for that too.
Let's call it "Let's Not and Say We Did."
There you go. Well, the judgment call episode.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah.
I need you to go out there in the pouring rain because it's not raining under the overhang. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's how that works.
So I guess, Nick's not here. We miss him horribly.
Mhm.
And so I guess it's behooving upon me to give everybody the information on how to get a hold of us via Google Voice.
Oh yeah.
And the yet to have been heard on the podcast mating call to Nick.
To Nick. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to isolate this one too.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Should I pull up Chuck Mangione or something, or what?
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Oh,
This is Nick. I know you're listening. You weren't here, but I know you're there. I hope you're doing those special exercises I ordered you to do. Now, I want you to just, in your own mind, think about the Google Voice. 571 888 5283.
5283. I think I got a tangle.
Oh, as Nick said before, I got a full on.
No half chub for Brad.
Right, we are full on. Nick, we miss you, man. Get back.
Yeah, man, definitely. Please, we miss you. Find us at TFTC Podcast on Instagram and at Crawlspace Tales on Twitter. And I posted in the Pest Control Humor Depot, there's a little clearinghouse webpage that I put together it's a tap link page that has all of our social media, our phone number, our email address, and the majority of the major podcast outlets that you can find us on. Now, there's like 20 other smaller ones that we're on as well. But it's got Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, Deej, all those big ones for finding us because we're on every damn podcast provider out there. But that's taplink.cc/TFTC podcast. It's taplink, taplink.cc/TFTC podcast. And because some people go, hey, man, I listen on Google Podcasts. Could you send me the link for that? Or can you send me the link for this? Now, you can go to our Buzzsprout link that's all over the depot, and it'll give you all the links. It has a little drop-down menu for all the different podcast providers, or you can listen from that site. But if you do like, your Amazon Music podcast or your Apple podcast, which is what I like to use, taplink.cc/TFTC podcast has all the links to all the podcast providers. And I want to thank you all because so far this past week, 500 listens to the podcast.
Woo!
Yeah, man, that's great.
Yeah.
We're halfway to being able to pay for the software that we use to make it. So I don't mind spending that money because I love doing this, and it's I really enjoy the feedback that we get on the depot and on email and everything else. A lot of people chimed in and said, "Man, I just found the show. I love it. They've been sharing it. Share the hell out of the show. Tell your coworkers about it. We love making people laugh. We love giving you something to listen to between stops. It's a labor of love for us, and we really enjoy doing it."
Absolutely. And I have the best time in the world sitting here talking to you guys. Well,
hell yeah.
Well, you at least, Jack.
Yeah, well, it's just other times you kind of at least one-handed preoccupied talking to Nick. So
that's right.
Distracted.
I'll tell you what, it's kind of, I'm a right-handed guy, and working this mouse with the left hand while I'm on the podcast talking to you guys has been a challenge, but I've risen to it, literally.
We're and to paraphrase Cleveland on the Cleveland show, oh, that's nasty.
That's nasty.
The keys are sticky. Okay. Well, that was
thanks
a good
again,
show, man.
It was. Thank everybody for listening, and looking forward to the next episode. So until then, bug off.
Bug off. Take care, guys. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Tales from the Crawlspace podcast. You can find us on just about every single podcast outlet there is online. So be sure to subscribe, and we'll have a new episode next week. Don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at TFTC Podcast, on Twitter at Crawlspace Tales, and you can also find us on Facebook at the Pest Control Humor Depot. See you next week.